Hello, it's me Harley, back at it again for yet another video, and today I have some very exciting news. A week today, our household gained 4 new members of the family, and I love them to bits. If you're wondering what type of pets they are, all will be revealed very shortly, and ironically, it's actually the type of pet I briefly mentioned in my not last video, but the video before. Sorry, I'm so excited to show you my new friends. Before I introduce you to them, you may be hearing some sneezes. I'm not mistreating my pets. They are not ill, but they do have respiratory problems. So that means that they find it kind of hard to breathe sometimes. They have asthma, they have kind of hay fever, and at the moment it's spring going into summer. There's a lot of pollen going around and they do have hay fever at the moment. That's actually the reason why I have them in the first place. I got these boys because they need special care, and as an experienced owner of this species of pet, I know how to look after them and I will give them the best treatment I can. So, shall I introduce you to the boys? Who wants to hop out first? Come on. Oh, you want to come out? Okay. Come here. Gosh. Move your paws. You've got to stay in there for a moment, boy. Oh, where are you going? Baby boy. I have rats! Now then, I am an experienced rat owner, although I haven't had a pet rat for over a year now, until last week that is. And these boys came to me because they needed an experienced owner. Now this one I've named Targaryen, or Ty for short. Ty is the boss rat, although he's probably the most chill and most laid back. Although he's deciding to show up and be extremely active today for the camera. Ty, come back to me. Anyway, he's my grey and white one. He's the only one with pink eyes. He has got some grey running through his fur, but he will probably lose that grey as he gets older. They're about 13 weeks old now. They were 12 going into 13 weeks when I got them. Come back! You like my pillow! I know, I like my pillow too. And yeah, he's the most healthy out of all of them. He doesn't really have any respiratory problems. He's the only one out of the 4 who... Oh, and now he's sneezing. Anyway, so this is my little boy, Targaryen, or Ty for short. So if you ever hear me mentioning Ty in future videos, I'm referencing this little lad. He's so adorable. Anyway. What the hell are you doing? Do you want to go back in? Do you want to go back in? No. I don't want to. I want to romp and be free. Ty! This is Ratty Boy number 2. This is Stark. Right, yeah. Now he's the rat who's most likely to want to come out for cuddles. He was the first rat that I held out of all 4 of them. And he's just a little charmer, aren't you, Stark? Anyway, as you can tell, he's got a black hood and then a black spot on his back. And I like to think, okay, yeah, no, he likes my shoulders most. And he just likes sitting on my shoulders mainly. He prefers to be up here than in my hands. And he's a right little gentleman, aren't you? Yeah. What do you think to my room? Anyway, Stark, as I said, was the one that I held first out of all four of them. He was the little boy who really persuaded me that, yes, I didn't mind taking on these four little hooligans. He's generally rather sweet. Like with Ty, he's laid back in his cage, but as soon as you get him out, he'll want to play with you. Stark, he's more likely to actually just sit in your hand and let you tickle him and stroke him. But, as I said, even though he's the most likely, in the end, they are all baby boys who want to play together and apparently do gymnastics. What are you planning, mate? What do you think there is up there? Okay. My soft little slinky. Anyway, I think I'll move on to rat number 3 to introduce you. Come on. Baby, where are you going? Whoop. But yeah, he's the only one out of the 4 rats to have a name which can't really be easily abbreviated and shortened. Who wants to come out next? I think I'll grab you because you're the one who's most interested in coming out next. So, this one here, this is my 3rd rat, and out of the ones with kind of like browny hoods, he's got the darker one, and this is Baratheon, or Theo for short. Now then, this little rat is the one that's most likely to groom you. He really does love a good old groom. He won't bite you, but he'll gently just nibble at you. And it honestly doesn't hurt, because he's an affectionate and sloppy little boy, just like all the others. Yeah, you having fun up there? That's nice to know. I chose the name Baratheon for him because in the end I thought, what name would be appropriate? And for a while I thought the name, there were a couple of other houses that I thought, maybe I'll name him after that. But in the end, they're extinct now. So I thought I'll go with the house that actually has a future in Game of Thrones. And this little lad suits it, I think. Do you suit the name Theo? Do you like the name Theo? I mean, you don't really know it or anything, and you probably never will, but I like it, and I think it suits you. What do you think? You're a little slinky. Really? So I've now got a rat in my hood. I mean, I've got a hooded rat in my hood. Haha! Oh, I've missed having rats. They're so affectionate. I mean, as much as I love my other animals and I'd never get rid of them or I'd never harm them, when it comes to small animals, I'm not talking about dogs or cats. I'm talking like rabbits, guinea pigs, chinchillas, degus, mice, hamsters, guinea pigs, rabbits. I don't know what I've missed out, but there's tons of them. I really did miss having rats. I think I could I'm not saying I'd ever give up on my animals because I love my animals. Once they're in my house, they'll never leave. But when it comes to rabbits and guinea pigs, I can be quite happy without rabbits and guinea pigs and not miss having them. But I terribly missed having rats. There's just something so quirky, and they've all got such beautiful personalities that with rats, you really do feel like you could have an intelligent conversation with them. And you can sit and just watch their cage for hours because they'll be just the most entertaining little boys. Anyway, I'll get the last rat out for a cuddle. Whee! Plonk. Whee! Scoop. Anyway, this is the last one out of the 4 brothers. This is Lannister. And he's probably the most cheeky out of them. He's the most playful, I'd say. When he's in the cage with his brothers, he's the one who's most likely to start a little bit of a rough and tumble play fight, aren't you, mate? But yeah, I call him Lannis for short, because Lannister makes sense to me. Where are you going? I love you. And I actually used to take my rats to competitions. Now, these 4 boys don't have particularly good markings, so they wouldn't do very well in their category. So I'm not planning to join the rat competitions again. Now I've got 4 pet rats, because they haven't got good markings. But in the end, I don't mind, because I love you. And who cares if you've got beautiful markings or not? They're beautiful to me, aren't they? Yeah. As you can tell, these boys are pretty tame and hand-trained already. And like hitting me in the face with their tails. But yeah, they will have respiratory problems for the rest of their lives. So I've got to be a good mum to you, and I've got to look after you well. And you have special bedding to reduce your sneezing and coughing. And you have not so dusty food as well. And my dog's sneezing outside as well, just to join in. By the way, my dog absolutely loves these boys to bits. She's a border collie, so sees them as kind of like her herd. And she will literally spend hours just staring at the cage, even if they're not doing anything. Even if all 4 of them are in bed and she can't even see them, she will just sit staring at the cage because she absolutely adores them. She wouldn't hurt them. She'd never hurt them. In fact, if she ever says hello to them and actually comes into like contact, because we know how good she is, the most she'll ever do is just lick them affectionately and try and groom them, which they don't mind. Obviously, with new pets, we are always sceptical, and we are always like, for both the animals, for both the dog and the rats, we don't want to scare the rats, and we don't want to accidentally encourage the dog to potentially be aggressive towards them. So especially when we're introducing new animals, we always make sure it's in a very controlled environment. But as I said, we know our dog. Our dog sees our pets as her herd. She is a Welsh collie, technically not a border collie, but a Welsh collie. We call her a border collie because more people know what that is. And her job is to literally herd and protect animals. So when these 4 little boys came along, she just decided that they were her babies and that she was going to look after them and love them and adore them, and she's absolutely besotted with them. You guys are pretty fond of her too. And the only reason why we let them kind of say hello to one another outside of the cage is because they will literally sit grooming one another through the bars of the cage, which it's a rather bizarre sight. But I suppose if it makes them happy, if you guys don't mind it and she doesn't mind it, then why not? I don't know what's going on out there, sorry about the banging. But I think that's enough excitement for these boys for the time being. I think I'm going to go and put them back in their cages. And I've now introduced you to my Game of Thrones named rats. I've always given my rats pretty long names if I've got them and not rescued them. For example, I had 2 females which are named Ermengarde and Melchizedek. I had 2 males named Plato and Aristotle. So it only makes sense that these 4 boys, seeing as I got to name them, would be named after Game of Thrones characters. Well, Game of Thrones houses. Technically they're not characters, but you get what I mean. Oh my god, you are my small little baby boys and I love you to bits. On that note, I'll say toodle pip old beans.